Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're looking at Thor in our March to Infinity War. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Yes, we're banging out these Marvel movie reviews, trying to get them to you in a timelier manner than previously. But anyway, let's jump right into it. We're talking about Thor today. Now, this came out in 2011, 1 year after Iron Man 2, I think the very beginning of May. So we had Iron Man 1 in 2008. We had Hulk, I think, in 2008 as well, Incredible Hulk. Iron Man 2 in 2010, and then Thor in 2011, and I think we also had Captain America later this summer, which is the next movie we're going to talk about, and then you get Avengers, the Come Together movie, in 2012. But let's talk about Thor. It is directed by Sir Kenneth Branagh. I think he's a Sir. Anyway, Kenneth Branagh directed it. He's famous for his Shakespearean plays. He doesn't play a role in this movie, but he does a great job directing it and really bringing the gravitas and weight to these Asgardian gods and stuff like that. I think the design is really different and kind of cool. It's not very old Viking-y as other people would think, but it's very outlandish and out there and very grand, which I think is really cool when you think about gods and stuff like that, and Thor and Odin and Loki. So it stars Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I got my little IMDb thing down here. Natalie Portman as Jane Foster. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Sir Anthony Hopkins as Odin. Stellan Skarsgård as Dr. Selvig. Kat Dennings as Darcy. And then Agent Coulson is in here as well. Also, we got Idris Elba as Heimdall. Ray Stevenson as Volstagg. Tadanobu Asano as Hogun. Never actually said his name aloud before. And Josh Dallas Fandral. And Jamie Alexander as Sif. Renee Russo as Thor's mom, Frigga. So that's the cast right there. Chris Hemsworth, I think, does a pretty good job. He's got a wig on in this movie, I think. And they also dyed his beard blonde and his eyebrows blonde in this movie. And it doesn't quite look... It's not quite there. This dye job on his beard makes him look a little weird in some shots. Other shots, it looks fine. But anyway, that's just commenting on the look. But everything else, I really like Thor's costume. Got the big cape and stuff. The only thing that does not work... the only thing that does not work is his helmet. And I think they realize this because he takes it off. Only wears it in the very first scene of the movie where he appears. And then takes it off and never puts it back on again. For whatever reason, they just cannot make the winged Thor helmet look very good. Although, they do make Loki's horns look good. And Loki wears the horns later on in this movie, and he wears them in Avengers as well. So I think, I don't know what the design difference was and why one looks better than the other. They're both pretty wacky looking from the comics, if you want to be truthful about it. But anyway, our story starts as Thor is... trying to become king of Asgard, and his father's passing down the mantle and the throne to him. He's already got the hammer, and frost giants break into Asgard, steal the casket of ancient winters, which is like some ancient power and stuff like that from the armory, and escape. And that kind of ruins the coronation ceremony for Thor. He gets mad and yells about it, screams about it, and leads his team of the three Warriors 3 and Sif and Loki also to Jotunheim, which is the world of the giants, to try and figure out who came and why they came, etc., and get revenge. Basically, they kill a bunch of Asgard soldiers and then break in. So they're killing giants. Odin has to come down and save them because they get overpowered. When they go back, he casts Thor out and sends him to Earth, or to Midgard, as they call it here, and then whispers into the hammer, if you be worthy, whoever holds this hammer will possess the power of Thor, and throws the hammer after him. And we land in current day in New Mexico with Natalie Portman, Kat Dennings, and Stellan Skarsgård. And they hit Thor with their car, and over this like Bifrost carving or weird Norse carving in the sand and the dirt there from the Bifrost coming down. It's like a teleportation tube, and they're trying to figure out who he is. He says he's a god. They're studying the stars and things like that, and they're kind of use him and start to believe him as some other weird things start happening in the world. We see the destroyer armor come down in the end of the movie, and Thor facing the destroyer armor is ultimately what earns him his godly powers back, and he defeats the destroyer armor and then goes back to Asgard to take over and defeat his brother, who kind of stole the throne from Odin by getting Odin to tire himself, and Odin was in the Odin sleep for a while. So at the end of the movie, Loki falls away. We don't know where to. He falls off the Rainbow Bridge, and Thor kind of stays on Asgard as during the fight they destroyed the Bifrost Bridge contraption. So that's your little mini summary of Thor. What I really liked about this movie was the fact that they turned the Bifrost, this rainbow bridge, as it's always been in mythology, into this cool like teleportation thing. You got Heimdall, who his godly powers are, he's actually able to see everything. Whether, near, far, he can basically like see all of the 9 realms in this movie. And they don't quite spell out what that is. It's more apparent when they kind of explain it in the comics. But I like the idea of him being the guardian of the Bifrost at the edge of Asgard, kind of the watcher on the wall overlooking everything, and also allows him to see when he needs to pull people back from whence, back to Asgard and things like that. Another cool thing and approach about this is that they actually turned these gods into what seem to be actually aliens that have much more advanced technology than we do. In the movie, Thor calls magic science that you don't understand yet, basically. Or, it's technology that you don't have an understanding of, and that's why the Earthlings call it magic, which kind of, I think, is a really cool way to introduce them to the world. Now, they don't have spaceships. They have this other Bifrost technology, and I don't know how the godly powers and stuff come in. Maybe it's just his race of aliens and things like that. They don't really explore that angle very much in the other Thor movies, but I thought it was a really cool way to bring the gods into the MCU without having them be actual gods. They're more aliens. When we see Jotunheim and the other worlds, in ancient mythology, they were kind of depicted as other like flat planes in this weird like stackable table organizational chart. Whereas now they're actual planets, and the tree is like the Yggdrasil tree from Norse mythology, is this kind of ancient pathway that connects all these planets. So Jotunheim, instead of being a flat plane of ice, is actually an ice planet, like Hoth in Star Wars. I think that's cool. Asgard's not a planet necessarily. It's still kind of this weird thing. It's got a bunch of ice in the bottom, and then the weird like stuff on top with all the gold everywhere. Really godly, really cool design, I think, for some of that Asgard stuff. A lot of it, some of it hits, some of it misses, but I think it's different enough that we can safely say we had never seen anything like it before. And what Kenneth Branagh did was kind of elevate that material high enough where it felt important and not silly. And that's exactly what this movie needed, is to feel important and not silly, so that we gravitate to Thor when he comes down into our realm in the Avengers and the other movies, and now he can safely operate within the MCU without us laughing at him. So I think that's what this movie did. All in all, I like this movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's not a great one, so I would give it 4 out of 5 stars, barely a 4 maybe, out of 5 stars. So let me know what you think of the first Thor movie. What are your favorite parts? What did you think that they missed out on? Who did they not develop enough? The Warriors 3, Sif, I think they missed out on them. And, let me know if you like this movie or not and where it ranks in your Marvel pantheon. So, as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching BK's Bullets. We will see you guys next time in the funny pages. Our next movie is Captain America, the First Avenger.